Alright, so for this video, I'm going to talk about why dream recall is a must in the prison planet, right? So this is going to be a combination of, the two main topics I talk about on my channel, which are lucid dreaming and the prison planet, the reincarnation trap, right? And I've been thinking about this, and like one of the reasons that I think, I don't, well, like first of all, I think that I don't encounter a lot of negative entities in my dream for two reasons, I think. And number one is because I'm typically violent towards entities in my dream. Like I remember, one time, you know, well, like anytime there's like a dream character that like tells me what to do, or anytime there's like a dream, like a demonic entity character, or like that tries to like make a deal with me, or something like that in the dream. Like I think yet again I rarely encounter it, but whenever I do encounter it, like I remember like I stabbed a demonic entity for trying to make a deal with me. I remember there was this old lady that tried to prevent me from entering an area in my dream, and so like I shoved her over, like I just like shoved this old lady over. So it was like fuck you grandma, and like literally like last night at the time of recording this, I actually like killed someone in my dreams. Like actually like I there was like this guy who was like a competitor to one of my businesses, and like he was like an enemy businessman, and like I burned down his car factory, and like I choked and stabbed him to death. Like I choked him with like a necktie, and like there was like this shard of glass that came from like I exploded one of his buildings, and like I stabbed his neck with like a shard of glass, right? So I think that first of all, like having that level of like just on site, King Von level violence towards entities in your dream, that's important. But no, but the other one too is like the main subject of this video is dream recall, right? And the reason why dream recall is important is because if you remember your dreams, you can counteract any programming that happens in your dreams, right? Like there's sometimes I'll look at my dreams, and there will be some dreams that I have where the experience seems to be an experience designed to to sort of manipulate my subconscious beliefs. And because of the fact that I'm remembering the dream, I could be like, oh, okay, and so I'm able to sort of parry or counter any programming that happens throughout the night. And number two is that if you, I do think that these entities, that the archons, I do think that they only target people who don't have a don't have a really good dream recall, because it's easier to program people who don't even know what dreams they're having. And so I do think that if you do have good dream recall, and I think it's like that combined with it just being violent towards any dream entities that try to tell me what to do. I feel like that combination, I think, will get sort of the archons off your back. It'll remove that sort of mental programming. And if you learn how to lucid dream, if you learn how to start to gain awareness inside of your dreams and try to control your dreams. And yet again, this is like the process of lucid dreaming has been a very hard one for me. I've been able to get lucid on a consistent basis, but like I've always had trouble staying in the dream, right? Like I've been able to get lucid relatively consistently, like more than half the time I'll be able to get lucid. But staying in the dream is always a hassle, and there'll be very rare moments where I'll be able to like touch things in order to stabilize the dream before I wake up, right? But yet again, going back to the whole element of dream recall, remembering your dreams means that you're not as programmable. Your dreams don't have as much of an influence over your subconscious mind, because you're bringing your dream experiences into the conscious awareness, and so any programming of your subconscious that could have happened in the dream is sort of countered by your awareness of the dream, right? And so I do think that dream recall is very important. And if you're someone who writes down your dreams, which that's how you develop dream recall, remembering your dreams, is that you write them down in the dream journal. That's basically what it is that you get a composition book and you get a pen, and you have natural awakenings throughout the night. And so anytime you have a natural awakening, you want to wake up and write down just a basic summary of what your dream was, and then fall back asleep, like normal. And this habit of writing down your dreams, right? This habit of writing down, the dream experiences that you have throughout the night. This is really important because this allows you to yet again counter any mental programming, but it also allows you to program your own subconscious behavior patterns, where you're you have more control of your state of consciousness as you fall asleep. And so I think that like this sort of violence towards dream entities that I've had in my dreams, That is something that I think developed over time. I think that just that subconscious behavior of just like oh, hold on. Okay, so there was actually this one other dream that I had. I just remembered this. That I remember I stabbed Jeffrey Epstein in the ear with a pen, and then he turned into a lizard. That he turned into a lizard and he like crawled up the walls and shit. But yeah, like developing your subconscious patterns, like even if it's not lucid, even though you're not lucid dreaming, you can still influence your state of consciousness. You can still influence your subconscious behavior patterns in the dream. So you, like any lizard people that shows up in your dreams, you can just like stab them or like light them on fire or something, or it's like that old lady, you just like shove them to the ground or like shove them into a locker, right? So yeah, I mean, dream recall. I mean, that's like 1/3 of our lives spent asleep, right? It's 1/3 or more of our lives that is spent asleep. That's 1/3 of our lives that is spent, where we essentially get drugged, and like we get like roofied into falling asleep. And so, having dream recall is really important because I do think that there might be a lot of you know programming that the system might do through the dream state. And because and this is also a thing where it's an as above so below correspondence when it comes to the reincarnation trap. Is that in the same way that the reincarnation cycle has a memory wipe, the dream, entering the dream and exiting the dream, like your circadian rhythm, it's almost like a miniature reincarnation cycle where you have a memory wipe, right? So it does sort of familiarize yourself. You can sort of familiarize yourself with, okay, what's the memory wipe like? Well, and how do I, increase my memory, in order to, yeah, how do I increase my memory in order to retain more and more of my nighttime memories of my dreams, right? And so I think that dream recall yet again is just a very important skill to learn. It's a very important thing that I think is essential to this prison planet, because you're gaining control over your mind. You're regaining authority over your mind. Instead of instead of just letting your subconscious mind being programmed by the system during the night, you're becoming conscious of it, and you can sort of parry or undo any programming that would have happened otherwise if you were unconscious of any of the experiences that happened, right? And yet again, like learning how to lucid dream, that's something that I think is really important. And maybe I'll get into astral projection. I'm more of the lucid dream kind of a person, but maybe the astral projection stuff might be useful as well. But learning how to be conscious in these other realms, learning how to use our imagination to influence these things in the other realms, I think that is really important, of a skill, especially whenever we leave the body, and if we want to avoid the tunnel of light. I think that it is really important, that we learn how to maneuver in these realms, that we learn how to sort of work our way around these other realms, and to sort of learn what it's like to be in these other realms, beyond the physical, and to sort of tap into insights as well, because I think the dream realm is also a key to insight, and maybe it's a part of the control system, but I do think that dreams might be like a subconscious sort of reaching out to the other realms, that like we have this sort of yearning for something beyond the physical. And so I do think that like the dream realm is extremely important, and learning how to utilize our most powerful asset, which is the human imagination, which is something that the archons don't have. It's something that demons don't have. We have an imagination, they don't. And so I think all of us are kind of like Green Lanterns almost, in a way. And I think the, there is like a reason why I liked Green Lantern's powers whenever I was a little kid, like this idea of you know being able to control things with willpower and imagination. And that is very similar to how things work in the dream realm. Like the more willpower you have, and whenever you visualize something in the dream realm, it does sort of materialize almost instantly. um, and so yeah, I mean, I definitely think that dream recall, interacting with the dream realm, and learning how to lucid dream, learning how to astral project, and learning how to control your subconscious behavior patterns, and like yet again, like all those violent sort of responses to any entities that try to tell me what to do, right? Like having that sort of control over these other realms is very important, if you want to sort of regain sovereignty over your own consciousness, in this prison planet, right? And I do think that the whole, you know, like the fact that we're not exactly aware in the dream realm, and the fact that there's a memory wipe, when it comes to the dream. I do think that that is artificially placed. I think that we should be able to remember all of our dreams. I do think that even like like the normal human memory, I think is unnatural. I think that we all should have like savant syndrome, photographic memory. I do think that there are certain genes and parts of the brain that have been deactivated or control or limited in some way, right? And so I do think this applies to lucid dreaming. This applies to the dream realm, where I do think that in our natural state, without all the genetic manipulation, I do think that we are lucid in all of our dreams. I do think that we should be able to remember all of our dreams. But I think that there are measures in place to try to prevent that from happening, to try to prevent people from, interacting with the dream realm and to, causing chaos to the system. Right. So I do think that, lucid dreaming is really like a great weapon to fight against the system. And I think that that may be why I have such a great interest in it, is getting control over our own consciousness and getting control over these realms that they've tried to invade, right? So yeah, I mean, dream recall and lucid dreaming, I think that is like an essential sort of a must have if you're someone who wants to deprogram yourself, unplugged from the matrix, fight the prison planet system, right? But yeah, that's the video.